Akua, a real pleasure to meet you at the recent Neurodiversity Awards. Let's start by you telling us about yourself and your story.
Sure. Hi, James. Yeah, lovely to meet you recently at the awards as well. It was a great night, and all the stories and all the winners, nominees were just incredible, and it made it an even better experience because it was in my workplace. So it was really great to see how far we've come as an organisation. My story, it's an interesting one because I only found out that I had dyslexia and ADHD last year. So I was in the thick of doing a lot of exams because I was studying a lot about cloud computing and looking to career pivot into project management. And it got to a stage where one of my exams, I was just finding it really tough to concentrate. And it wasn't just because the weather was getting warmer, it was just something just wasn't clicking. And I had an exam earlier in the year and everything was fine with that. And it was after a conversation with my former colleague at work where she asked me the question, or she kind of put it out there. She was like, are you neurodiverse? Because she was like, you're always organizing so many events, training and initiatives around it. And then it made me think a lot. And then I was like, okay, I'll try and get an assessment put in. And the thing was, at the time, I hadn't really talked about anyone within the organization about it. So I got in touch with Nancy Doy at Genius Within and just explained to her about my current situation, and the whole process to get assessed and the report was relatively quickly. I got an assessment after work and then I got my diagnosis within 48 hours. So I kind of felt relieved, but then it was I had an exam coming up. So my focus was like, what methods and kind of strategies could I put in for now just to get through my next exams?
Yes. And I appreciate you do lots beyond your additional studies as an ambassador and an advocate in many ways.
Yes, I do. So even at the London Stock Exchange Group where I work, so my day-to-day role is in corporate technology as a senior analyst, but I'm also a community lead with the Women's Network, UK accessibility lead. I work a bit with the Black Empowered Network, a mental health champion, and also part of the community and charity initiatives here with fundraising and working with school kids. So I kind of lead a busy lifestyle in and outside of work. And then outside of work, I do a bit of mentoring through Kajigo. I'm on the advisory board with Neurodiversity in Business on an advisory group. And I also do sports and charity volunteering with British Athletics and England netball team. So yeah, it's quite a busy kind of time. Yeah.
Busy time and all very inspiring, Akua. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tell us, how did it feel to be nominated for many awards, including the Stereotype Buster Award?
To be honest, I felt so honoured because the category I was in, there was incredible people from the Stereotype Buster to even the community choice, because it's sometimes really hard to see kind of what value you bring to a community at times, because I just see it as that's me as a person. Whatever I could do to help another individual, that kind of makes me who I am, because I've grown up over the years. And I think maybe it stems back to being a charity and sports volunteer. I've always felt like it's good to give back, because I see it as everyone should be able to get an opportunity to thrive and to succeed, regardless of whether they have a disability or anything that kind of holds them back. And for me, since even prior to being diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, I've always kind of used that level of empathy that I've got and how I am as a person to give back, because I see it as everyone matters and representation matters as well.
Completely agree. And your story was extremely inspiring.
Thank you.
So Akua, tell us, have you experienced stereotyping against yourself in the workplace?
Yeah, because I sometimes think just being a woman in tech and then being a Black woman in tech and being neurodiverse, it adds so many layers. And it's kind of like you're labeled one way, you're labeled another way. And it's kind of like sometimes I'm like, I just want to be seen as an individual. I just want to be seen as a human being, because that's who I am. And the thing is, I don't want to have these labels, because sometimes it might not go to my advantage. It could be a hindrance where I feel like, oh, okay, I'm not given a chance. And in technology as it is, there's a small percentage of women already. So then being a Black woman in tech, then being neurodiverse, I feel like, will that help me progress in my career? Sometimes I don't know, if I'm going to be honest about it.
Well, again, a big message I took away from the awards was around, we've all got unique and brilliant brains, and it was very much people's time to shine around the purpose and all the huge change and purpose-driven activities that all nominees had.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I suppose in the context of what you shared, what advice would you give companies when hiring and working with neurodiverse talent to make sure they support these communities to achieve their full potential?
First and foremost, I want to start off with management. I think it's so crucial that managers get training that they require to know how to manage their teams, how to kind of get individuals from a neurodiverse background into their teams, because I've known and seen where if someone's not understood, it makes it difficult for them to interact with others in their team. But the onus shouldn't be on that individual. It should be on management, because managers, they kind of do the team meetings, things like that. Even when you're doing meetings, make sure you send out the agenda before and send out even the deck of slides, so that it gives enough people time to prepare. Be cautious of like people's social cues and the norms in terms of, like, some individuals can't come in first thing in the morning, some would come in later in the day because of how they work. So be open to that. Make sure within an organization as a whole, you have the right accommodations from property, technology, and just things like noise cancelling headphones, things like that, because they make a work environment. They help others thrive within the environment. And from a HR wellbeing perspective, I would say, just being a mental health champion myself, some elements of neurodiversity and mental health overlap. So I would say that make sure you have neurodiverse coaches as well through your employee assistance program, and make sure they're diverse coaches too, to put a whole kind of intersectionality lens on it. Because as an individual, sometimes you feel like you can relate to one person over another. So you want to have that broad kind of spectrum whereby the individual feels comfortable with who they're speaking to. And then within the organization, across the board, from leaders, get that understanding and actually attend these events and initiatives run by staff within your company, because that's how, as a whole, you'll get a better understanding of how to support your staff at different levels of the organization.
And Akua, you're a ambassador for women in STEM. As you've said, you're a mental health champion. You're also a huge mentor for new people joining your organization. Just share with us, how can your experience help other neurodiverse individuals in the world of work?
I think my experience shows that, again, around the words of being inclusive, diverse, I think that you have to listen to what someone's telling you and get that level of understanding. If you feel like you see someone in the workplace that you feel like they're sitting by themselves, things like that, as individuals, we should be able to, like, in an open plan office, be able to walk up and maybe sit down with that person, have a chat, but being open to other people's ideas and opinions, because it's so important, where everyone's values and opinions should matter. And I feel that, I also, if I would direct this more at my colleagues as well, just being kind of open to, yes, sometimes dynamics in the teams might be different and change, but just to make sure that we always include people, and how we conduct meetings, we might have to adapt it to fit around that individual needs, but don't single them out. Include them in it, or make it a welcoming environment, because again, it's so important. And we need to, again, within organizations, advertise, or I would say within our kind of structure for employee assistance, etc., make things easy to find. Because let's say, for instance, as I've got dyslexia and ADHD as well, I don't want to be going through multiple links to get to what the content and information I'm looking for. Make it kind of, and the text needs to be right in terms of, will this text be easy to read on mobile devices, screen readers? All of that comes into it. So accessibility is so key for organizations to drive change, and how they communicate things to the business as well. Like, make sure you communicate where it'll be easily for someone to read the text and understand it, and also be intentional in the message of trying to convey to the individuals in your organization.
Great insights, thank you. And again, other key messages from the awards included, diverse teams are better teams, and they create superior performance as a result of that diversity of thought that you have. Yeah. Would that be a theme that you would share from your experience?
100%, because even if you look at why do we travel, to go to another place, understand the culture, understand how other people live and work in their environment. And for me, like, the world is a big, beautiful place. Like, regardless of what we see on the news, if you go to every country, there's something that makes it unique and beautiful to others. And it's kind of like looking deep within to see that beauty of that country. And so I think that having a diverse team and workplace, it makes the workplace special, and it makes it unique, because that's how we grow and learn from one another. And that's why communication in an organization is so key, and learning about different cultures, and also doing these awareness days. Don't do it again just because you feel like, oh, you need to tick a box to say, oh, we're aware of this, we're aware of that. No, we're doing it to learn about each other. And that's how we get to know our colleagues and form a greater bond.
Superb. Akua, thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much for the time today, James. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Akua.
Thank you.